The floor of the gym made loud thump-thump sounds. Big gloves were hitting punching bags again and again. People were sweating a lot, and you could hear lots of grunts. Huh. Ugh. From strong people trying really hard. Right in the middle of everything was a man named Rafe. He was the boss of the gym. His gym was called Iron Fist Boxing Club. Rafe wasn't just a coach. He was also the janitor, the towel guy, and the boss who told everyone what to do. He liked to act really tough. A long time ago, Rafe was a boxer. He fought in the middleweight class, which means not too big and not too small. He was pretty good, but he never became super famous. Not because he wasn't strong, he was, but because he didn't like when people said he was doing something wrong. He hated it when someone gave him advice. Now Rafe was in his 40s. His arms were still big, and he still looked strong. But he had a bit of a belly growing too. He couldn't fight like he used to, so instead, he shouted at the younger boxers. He made fun of anyone who didn't seem tough. That's how he felt powerful. But today was a little different. Rafe stood in the gym with lights and cameras pointed at him. He was recording another video for his YouTube channel. People were watching his videos more and more. He had a new series where he challenged famous people. He told them to come fight him if they thought they were strong. This time, he had picked someone new. The camera turned on. Rafe stood tall, sweating in his tank top. He looked right into the camera and smiled a big, mean smile. "You know who really makes me mad?" he said loudly. "Jason Statham." The gym got really quiet. Everyone gasped. "Yeah, I said it." Rafe yelled. "Jason Statham walks around like he's still breaking arms like he did in old movies. All that Aikido stuff? Come on. That's not real fighting. That's just dancing in slow motion." He punched the air a few times to show off. "This is boxing. Real fists. Real power." He pointed at the camera and said, "Come down to Iron Fist, Jason. Let's see if you're as tough as you think. I'll knock you down in 30 seconds. Then Rafe dropped the microphone on the floor and walked away like he was a big star. The video went super viral. People on the internet started talking about it right away. Is this guy serious? He really called out Jason Statham? Statham is gonna crush him. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. For a few days, Rafe felt like a hero. He gave interviews. He made more videos. He said even more mean things about Jason Statham. "If Statham has any guts, he'll come," Rafe said on one video. "If he doesn't, then we all know he's a fake." But then, something happened. The door opens. 2 nights later, the front door of the gym creaked open. It made a loud squeaky sound. Everyone in the gym stopped what they were doing. They looked toward the door. Thud. 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 Boots walked across the floor. There he was. Jason Statham. He wore a long black coat. He had dark sunglasses. His face didn't smile. He looked calm and serious, like a big mountain that could walk. Rafe was training a young boxer when he saw him. Rafe froze with his mouth open. Jason didn't say anything. He didn't need to. People moved out of his way as he walked through the gym. Everyone was quiet. You could only hear Jason's boots on the floor. Rafe finally smiled and said, well, you actually showed up." Jason took off his sunglasses and put them in his coat pocket. He looked right at Rafe with eyes that were deep and still. "You called me out," Jason said in a soft, strong voice. "So here I am. You ready to fight?" Rafe asked, puffing out his chest. "You sure about this?" Jason asked. "You bring your Aikido pajamas?" Rafe laughed. Jason didn't laugh. He just took off his coat and gave it to someone nearby. Under his coat, he wore a black shirt. He didn't wear gloves or warm up. He looked ready. Just ready. "Ring 3, Rafe said loudly. That was the middle boxing ring. It was empty and ready for a fight. Word spread like fire. People rushed into the gym. Phones came out. Everyone was filming. Some people were live on TikTok and Instagram. Everyone whispered, "This is crazy. Rafe is gonna get destroyed." They stepped into the ring. Rafe bounced up and down. He punched the air, showing off. You better protect your face, old man, he said. It's about to get punched. Jason didn't bounce. He didn't move at all. His hands were at his sides. He just watched Rafe. The bell rang. The first round. Rafe ran at Jason fast. Left jab. Right hook. So many punches. But Jason didn't get hit. He moved like water. Smooth and calm. Rafe's punches missed. All of them. Jason leaned to the side. He touched Rafe's wrist. Rafe fell forward too far. Then Jason stepped to the side, touched Rafe's shoulder, and used his own speed against him. Wham! Rafe hit the ropes hard. Everyone gasped. Rafe looked surprised. But he got up fast. Lucky throw, he yelled. He charged again, but now he was mad. He wasn't thinking. He swung wild. Jason moved like smoke in the wind. He grabbed Rafe's wrist, turned his foot, and suddenly, BM. Rafe was on the mat, face down. Everyone's phone followed the fall. Rafe jumped up. You tripped me, he yelled. Jason didn't say anything. He just stood there, calm. Rafe got mad. His face was red. He tried again, this time swinging super hard. Jason stepped inside the big swing. Crack. A palm strike hit Rafe's chest. Rafe's breath whooshed out of him. He stumbled. Then snap. Jason moved his hand, and Rafe's arm twisted in a lock. Rafe screamed and dropped to one knee. Jason bent down and whispered, I told you this was a mistake. Then he let go. Rafe fell to the mat, confused and dizzy. Jason walked to the ropes, picked up his coat, and looked back. Next time you want attention, he said softly, don't start a war you can't finish. Then he walked out of the gym. Calm. Quiet. Cool. Everyone was still quiet. The next day. The next morning, Iron Fist Boxing Club felt different. No music. No gloves hitting bags. No Rafe yelling. Just silence. People walked around slowly. Lockers squeaked. No one talked about training. Because everyone saw what happened the night before. They saw Jason Statham throw Rafe. They saw the lock. The strike. The fall. They saw the truth. Rafe was sitting alone in his office. He had a bag of frozen peas on his ribs where Jason had hit him. His pride hurt even more than his ribs. His phone had lots of missed calls. Reporters, podcast hosts, YouTubers, all wanted to hear what he had to say. But he didn't know what to say. The internet had already told the story for him. Rafe gets dropped in 30 seconds. Aikido isn't real. Tell that to Rafe's face. Someone even made a funny video. It showed Rafe hitting the ropes in slow motion with sad music. The words on the screen said, "Rest in peace, ego." By lunchtime, Rafe tried to act normal. He walked into the gym to talk to the fighters. "Okay, listen up," he shouted. "Yesterday wasn't a real fight." No one clapped. No one smiled. One kid whispered, "Coach got Stathamed." That hurt Rafe more than anything. "I let him do that." Rafe said loudly, "I didn't want to hurt an old man. Come on, it was just for fun. Just an exhibition." Still, silence. A lesson learned. That day, Rafe finally understood something. Jason Statham didn't beat him because of strength, or speed, or magic moves. He beat him because he stayed calm. He didn't need to yell. He didn't need to act tough. He just was tough. And Rafe? He had tried too hard to prove he was strong, and that made him look weak. That night, Rafe watched the video again. He saw himself getting flipped. He saw his students' faces. And he thought about what it really meant to be strong. Maybe being strong wasn't about punching hard. Maybe it was about staying calm, listening, and knowing when to stop. And from that day on, Rafe changed. He still coached. But he didn't shout as much. He didn't laugh at new fighters. And when people asked him about Jason Statham, he just smiled and said, "Yeah, that man taught me something real." Then someone made a loud noise through their nose, a big snort. It was Zane, a very small and fast fighter. He was young, not even 20 years old. "You got thrown around like a doll, coach," Zane said, laughing. The other fighters didn't laugh. but they didn't say anything to stop him either. Coach Rafe felt sad. His shoulders dropped, and he didn't say a word. He quietly walked out of the gym and went home early. But in another place, far across town, a man named Jason Statham was sitting in a small, quiet dojo. A dojo is like a peaceful place to practice martial arts. He was sipping warm green tea. The room was calm. The teacher there, Master Kenzo, had seen the video that had gone all over the internet. In the video, Statham had beaten Rafe very easily. Statham put his tea down and said, "I did what I had to do." Master Kenzo didn't say much. He just nodded. "You didn't go to fight him, did you?" Kenzo asked. "You went to teach him something?" Statham raised one eyebrow. "Do you think he learned anything?" he asked. "That's not your job," Master Kenzo replied. "The student chooses what lesson to learn." They were quiet for a moment. Then Master Kenzo chuckled and said, "But if you had gone just a little harder, his shoulder would still be lying in the ring." Statham gave a small smile. "I was being kind," he said. Back at Iron Fist Boxing Club, Coach Rafe was sitting at his desk. His phone buzzed. He picked it up, thinking maybe it was another reporter wanting to ask questions. But it wasn't. It was Blaze Ventura, a man who used to be a real boxer and now worked to set up big fights for money. "Hey Blaze," Rafe said. "You just became the joke of the whole internet," Blaze said. "Don't remind me," Rafe replied, shaking his head. "But that also means you're famous again," Blaze said. "And I have an idea for you." Rafe sat up straighter. "Tell me. You want to fix your name? Here's your chance. A live fight. For charity. You and Statham. Just 2 rounds. No gloves. No rules. People will go crazy to see it. We'll stream it online. Just real, raw fighting." Rafe paused. "What if Statham says no?" "I'll take care of that," Blaze said. "All you need to do is show up." That night, a new video came out. But it wasn't from Rafe. It was from Blaze Ventura. He stood in front of a big sign that said Glove House Promotions. He smiled into the camera. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "you asked for it. And now we deliver." He waited for a moment to let the excitement grow. Coach Rafe Maddox. Jason Statham. 2 legends. 1 fight. No gloves. No rules. 1 night only. All the money goes to kids who want to learn boxing. The event was called War of Honor. The internet went crazy again. People left funny and excited comments. No rules? Statham's going to snap him in half. Statham should bring a chair like in wrestling. Take my money. I want to see this. Rafe watched the video with a tight jaw. He didn't smile. This was serious for him. This was his big chance to fix everything. The next morning, Statham was walking on the edge of a soft training mat. His helper, Mira, came up to him with a tablet. "Did you see this?" Mira asked. He showed Statham the video Blaze made. Statham watched it without saying anything. Then he sipped his tea again. "Well?" Mira asked. "What do you think?" Statham waited a moment. Then he said, "I guess he didn't learn anything the first time." Mira smiled. "So, you're saying yes?" Statham stared at the wall, thinking. "Tell them I accept," he said slowly. "But this time, I won't go easy." By the end of that day, both men had signed a special paper called a contract. It was official. In 2 weeks, they would fight again. But this time, there would be no fancy camera tricks, no jokes, no silly moves, no rules, only the truth. And for Rafe, that truth was going to feel like thunder. Because Jason Statham wasn't coming to prove something. He was coming to end it. Fight night came. The big arena was full of people. There was a bright round area in the middle of the room. It looked like an old gladiator ring from ancient times. There were no ropes, no shiny lights, no ring girls. Just a hard floor and a quiet, heavy feeling in the air. The event was still called War of Honor. But everyone knew it wasn't really about helping kids anymore. This was about pride. Coach Rafe Maddox was standing in one corner. He had no shoes, no shirt. Just some white cloth around his fists. His face looked serious, not cocky like before. He wasn't bragging. He wasn't smiling. He was just a man trying to fix his past mistakes. He looked around the crowd. Everyone was watching him. Some were filming with their phones. Others were wearing shirts that said, "You got Stathamed." Then something moved across the ring. It was Jason Statham. He came out of the tunnel slowly, wearing all black. Loose pants. A long shirt. No gloves. No jumping around. No warm-up. No smile. He walked straight to the center of the circle. He stood still like a big rock waiting for a storm. Rafe stepped forward. There was no referee. No bell. Just a nod from the announcer. The fight began. Everyone went quiet. Even the crowd barely made a sound. Rafe made the first move. A quick punch toward Statham's chest. But Statham didn't move. He didn't blink. Instead, he leaned just a little, letting the punch fly by. Then he spun his body, grabbed Rafe's wrist, and pulled him forward hard. Crack. The crowd gasped. Rafe cried out. His arm hung down, hurt and useless. But Statham didn't stop. He spun behind Rafe and kicked his legs out from under him. Rafe slammed to the floor. The crowd stood up, shouting. But Rafe wasn't done. Even though he was hurt, he rolled away and stood up again. He started punching with his other hand, his good one. He hit Statham in the ribs. Then one punch touched Statham's jaw. The crowd screamed with excitement. "I'm not scared of you." Rafe shouted. "You're not untouchable." Statham still didn't say anything. He just watched and waited. Then suddenly, he grabbed Rafe's swinging arm, pulled him forward, and kneed him right in the chest. Thud. Rafe gasped hard, coughing. He dropped again. Still, he stood up. Bloody. Shaking. Tired. But not ready to quit. "I won't go down," he said loudly. Statham walked toward him, slow and calm. "I never told you to," he said. "But you will." Rafe tried again with a big swing. But Statham ducked low and swept his legs out. Rafe hit the floor hard again. Statham stood over him, calm as ever. One foot near Rafe's ribs. "Stay down," he said quietly. Rafe looked up. His head hurt. His chest burned. His body ached. "Finish it," he whispered. Statham looked at him. He didn't move. "No," Statham said. "Why not?" Rafe asked. "Because this time," Statham said, "you'll remember it." Then Statham did something no one expected. He reached out his hand. Rafe blinked. He was surprised. The man he had laughed at, the man he had mocked, was now offering to help him up. Rafe took the hand. Statham pulled him up and held him steady. Then Statham looked him in the eyes and said, "In front of everyone, say sorry." Rafe knew he couldn't hide anymore. He turned to the cameras. Holding his ribs, his face full of pain, he said, "I was wrong. Jason Statham is the real deal." Statham stepped back. The whole arena went wild with cheers. After the fight, Statham walked out quietly. No speech. No bragging. No waving to the crowd. He left Rafe standing alone. Rafe wasn't the winner, but he wasn't the same man either. Later, during an interview backstage, Rafe looked at the camera. His face was bruised and swollen, but his eyes were calm. "I used to think being loud made me strong," he said. "I thought making fun of others would make me famous. But tonight, I learned what strength really is. Real strength doesn't need to shout. Real strength just is." The next day, the internet blew up again. But this time, it wasn't full of jokes. People were showing respect. Rafe owned up. That took guts. "That was the most beautiful loss I've ever seen." Statham didn't just fight. He made Rafe a better man. 3 days later, Iron Fist Boxing Club opened again. Coach Rafe stood at the door. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't showing off. He was smiling. He taught the kids differently now. He listened more. He talked less. The kids who used to laugh at him now looked up to him. Not because he shouted or acted tough, but because they saw that he had changed. As for Jason Statham, he never talked about the fight again. But in a quiet interview 1 month later, someone asked him why he agreed to the match. He said, "Sometimes the only way to humble a man is to hold up a mirror he can't look away from." And then he gave a small nod and walked away. Did you enjoy the story? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. If you had a great time, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you're always in the loop for the next adventure. Thanks for joining me, and as always, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring.